plants and our vegetables, doesn't that affect the electromagnetic qualities of all life? I mean, there's a certain delicate balance that has to do with electrogravitation, and the moon and the sun and all of that is a harmonic. And, you know, wouldn't all this aluminum cause some kind of major interference pattern or change, alteration in the natural order of things?
Well, it is, and aluminum also, when sprayed in the free form that is suggested in numerous patents and also outlined in geoengineers' proposals, it absolutely is, and it absolutely does. And what it does, it also inhibits plant life from taking up the proper nutrients that it needs to as well. And that's one, I mean, these are just one of many examples of what you had suggested. Yes, they are eliminating the balance that we have. Dr. Lenny Fine, who is a metals expert, who we interviewed in the Oregon area, had spoken about it, and he spoke about how aluminum actually does exactly what you said. You know, it gets into the body and it changes the normal systems that we have. So again,
I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll have so much aluminum in our bodies, we'll be like the character Jaws in the 007 movies, and then somebody will get a big magnet and we'll just stick to it. They'll just drive a big truck with a huge magnet around and we'll all be carried away. But I'm trying to make fun of it, but it's not a funny situation. But we do have to keep our sense of humor, because this is a horrific attack and assault, and it's an unnatural, ungodly, if you want to put it that way. It really goes against all things sacred.
Well, it does, and I call it the anti-life agenda, and certainly we look at, if you look at the Bible, it talks about the end times and this antichrist worldly system that comes in and usurps the authority of natural order and natural things. It's exactly what we're seeing. It's in many different prophecies, and I want to, Jesus spoke in the Bible about weird weather patterns in the end times and earthquakes, and it's exactly what we're seeing. So it's very interesting, and it's not only what's prophesied in the Bible, it's many different prophecies, Hopi prophecies, and I was speaking to some people of Muslim religion, and they said, yeah, this fits right in with our prophecy. So it's very interesting what we're seeing, but it is, it's this system, I call it the beast, that's developing and really usurping this authority of what was at one time natural, the natural order of things. So it's not a system that I want to live in. So, and I'm comfortable living in. I like the natural order of things. So I am speaking about this, trying to wake people up, trying to show them, and the spiritual implications, behind these programs are immense. And there's a tremendous amount of wisdom that we can learn just by addressing this and looking at this, because it is, there are definitely spiritual connections to what's going on, and it is this good versus evil, and this evil that is now trying to overpower and take control over everything. So it's a very interesting season that we live in, a very interesting season in the movement, because like I had mentioned, we've seen an incredible awakening in the past 6 months, probably more than we've seen in the past 10 years. So for that, it excites me, because we see lines in the sand being drawn. Of course, many of the politicians who we interviewed in Washington, D.C. did not want to address this. Many of them were literally running away from it, and I think we did a good job illustrating just the political system that we have that we're told is there to serve us, but we clearly illustrated that it was not, because, I interviewed over 35 members of Congress and senators, most of who denied any knowledge of geoengineering programs. Of course, there have been numerous congressional hearings on the subject. So,
absolutely, and they'd have to be brain dead to not have heard of it through these congressional hearings, and so there must be quite a lot of fear in these people, instilled in them from the powers that be, about discussing or revealing or disclosing any of these various agendas that are secret and private and done without our consent, and that we're paying for. So I saw some of those interviews, and it was really embarrassing to see these, well-dressed senators and congressmen just literally run, and it was really shameful. That whole system really has turned into a hornet's nest of evil. And, I really can't see that the government it can be saved in the sense that it can be, that there's enough good in it that it can be transformed somehow into something beneficial for mankind. It's gone astray, and it's now run by the globalists and the mafia and the bankers and so on and so forth. So the elite are really pulling the strings, and we're not part of their process. They don't really want us around. So I think it's a tough pill to swallow, but that's just basically the way it is. And they're not all that way. You interviewed our California senator, I believe it was Senator Feinstein, and she seemed very helpful. She was the only one. Well, there was one other person, a woman, that was also very helpful, and she was going to do some work on it. But I thought that Dianne Feinstein was at least she was playing the politician. She's promised to do all the research. She said, "You give me all the papers you have, and we'll research it, and we'll take care of it." And that's what a politician should do. We know they're not going to do it probably, but they have to at least act like they're concerned about our welfare. And it's shocking to see so many that just not only are not concerned, but they're blatantly throwing their lack of concern for the humanity in our face.
Well, keep in mind that Senator Feinstein had the entire press corps in front of her during that time, so she had to address that in that manner. But let's go back to D.C., and I want to bring up Dennis Kucinich, Congressman Dennis Kucinich, who had in 2001 had put forth the Space Preservation Act. And essentially it was a bill that was banning space weapons. In that bill, he had mentioned specifically the word chemtrail to be banned. However, before the bill went for vote, it was removed. We went to address this with Dennis Kucinich, and his office would not comment on this and would not see us for an interview. So it appears to be, again, these are black programs. They're illicit. They're hurting people. They're killing people. And it appears that politicians that do address this, it's taboo, or they're going to have some rather not pleasant things happen, not only in their career, but probably
their families. Yeah, they get into car accidents. Their families somehow mysteriously die or disappear. That's the modus operandi these days, So we're living in very dangerous times, and we need to wake up.
But my question is this: how dangerous is it not to address this? And that's the issue. And we need to stand for it. And we should not accept our politicians not addressing this. This is a crime against nature and humanity, and somebody's got to move forward. And that's why I put a call out to the world, to everybody that's listening, to research this and get active, because we are in a real crisis. And people say, "Mike, are you worried that they're gonna kill you?" And my response always is, they already are. I'm breathing this in every day.
You're right. Right. Good point.
So, are we going to ignore this because we're concerned that they're going to hurt us? They're already hurting us. They're already doing nasty things. We need to stand up against this. We have to.
That's right. That's right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Well, we have just a couple minutes left, and I want to give you just a second to say whatever you'd like to in closing, and also to announce any websites that you'd like to promote, your email address if you like, or tell us where you'll be, and so that the people can find out more.
Absolutely. And again, Lance, I want to thank you for covering this. It's a deep and important issue to those of us who are aware of it. And I also, again, want to encourage people to research this and look into this more deeply. You can see more of my work, and I've written some articles on truthmediaproductions.blogspot.com. And also, I just opened up an Amazon site. We hope that, you purchase the video. After purchasing, please duplicate it, replicate it, burn DVDs, hand them out. But it would help if you support the filmmakers, because my goal is to not have to work for the next year. I want to promote this film and this issue, and I want to focus solely on it. But with that, I definitely need support. So if you could go to Amazon, my account is TM Videos. I will make sure I get the film in the mail the next day. It'll be sent off to you. And again, the film is available for free, but we do need your support to continue on and getting this message out. So again, truthmediaproductions.blogspot.com to purchase, Amazon.com, and just go to TM Video, stands for Truth Media Videos. And please research this, get active. The movement, again, is growing in leaps and bounds every day. Now we have a great tool. What in the world are they spraying? So please, get active, and thank you, everybody, for addressing this.
Wonderful, and thank you for doing it, and thank you for being on the show. You have my complete and total support, and I promise that I will go on to Amazon.com, and I will purchase a film, and I will distribute it as much as I am capable of doing. So best of luck in the coming months, and we'll have to have you back sometime in the future so that we can find out where things are going. So thanks again for being with us tonight. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Lance. It's been a pleasure, and God bless you.
God bless you, too. Good night, everybody. Plants and our vegetables, doesn't that affect the electromagnetic qualities of all life? I mean, there's a certain delicate balance that has to do with electrogravitation, and the moon and the sun and all of that is a harmonic. And wouldn't all this aluminum cause some kind of...
About how aluminum actually does exactly what you said. It gets into the body, and it changes the normal systems that we have. So, again,
who knows? Maybe we'll have so much aluminum in our bodies, we'll be like the character Jaws in the 007 movies, and then somebody will get a big magnet and we'll just stick to it. They'll just drive a big truck with a huge magnet around, and we'll all be carried away. But I'm trying to make fun of it, but it's not a funny situation. But we do have to keep our sense of humor, because this is a horrific attack and assault, and it's an unnatural, ungodly... Inhibits
plant life from taking up the proper nutrients that it needs to as well. And that's one... I mean, these are just one of many examples of what you had suggested. Yes, they are eliminating the balance that we have. Dr. Lenny Fine, who is a metals expert, who we interviewed in the Oregon area, had spoken about it. And he spoke
major interference pattern or change, alteration in the natural order of things.
Well, it is, and aluminum also, when sprayed in the free form that is suggested in numerous patents and also outlined in geoengineers' proposals, it absolutely is, and it absolutely does. And what it does, it also